What's up, guys? It is January 19th. It's Thursday, 3:41 p.m. And this is going to be a second newsletter of the day because yesterday I think I missed a lot of news that was pretty important. So we're going to dive into that. So starting off with it, Ripple CEO is optimistic that the crypto firm will get ruling on XRP lawsuit soon. Slams embarrassing SEC. So BG CEO crypto company Ripple said he is optimistic that a ruling on its legal dispute with the SEC will be reached in 2023, potentially in the first half of this year. The lawsuits relate to whether XRP should be treated as a security, has important implications on both Ripple and for the broader crypto market. He sternly rebuked SEC's legal battle with his firm Wednesday, saying the conduct of the agency so far has been embarrassing. So let's roll down here. Judges take however long the judges will take. He said, we're optimistic that this will certainly be resolved in 2023 and maybe in the first half. So we'll see how it plays out from here. But I feel very good about where we're at relative to the law and the facts. He said he expects a ruling to arrive sometime in the coming single-digit months, potentially as soon as June. So we're talking about anywhere from now until September. He added that he doesn't expect the company will settle the case, although he remains open to the prospect. We've always said that we would love to settle, but it requires one very important thing, and that is that on a go-forward basis, it's clear that XRP is not a security. The SEC very outwardly said he views almost all crypto as a security, and so that leaves us very little space in the Venn diagram for settlement. He subsequently hinted that Ether may also qualify as security without referring it to by name. Gary Gensler told reporters in September that crypto staking mechanisms, which reward users who deposit their tokens to secure blockchain networks with interest-like payments, should count as security offerings, since the investing public is anticipating profits based on the efforts of others. Ethereum, the network behind the world's second largest cryptocurrency, switched to such a model last year. The only cryptocurrency that the agency has made clear it doesn't view as a security is Bitcoin. The XRP case has more important implications for both Ripple and the broader crypto market. He said, something I've heard in Davos repeatedly is how important this is not just to Ripple, but for the whole crypto industry in the United States. I keep reminding people that outside the US, crypto is still thriving, Ripple's still thriving, and we should make sure we're continuing to engage non-US regulators as well. From the beginning, I thought it was very clear the facts were on our side and that the law was on our side, he said. I think you have seen this play out as you've seen the filings in the court that the judge certainly is hearing our arguments. The SEC behavior has been embarrassing as a U.S. citizen, just some of the things that have been happening, like you got to be kidding. He said the U.S. is notably absent from the list of regulators developing crypto-friendly rules. The UAE, Japan, Singapore, Switzerland, UK are some of the forerunners in this respect, in his view. As part of the legal proceedings, Ripple fought to obtain documents related to the June 2018 speech from former SEC official Bill Hinman, which it says has aided the case. In the speech, Hinman says that the sales of rival Ether are not securities transactions. There we go. So let's go to the next thing. We have Brad Garlinghouse again. My take on Davos 2023, I honestly think it's healthy seeing the change in how crypto showed up this year. Folks are focusing on utility and how these technologies solve real world problems. The only way the industry will move forward. Great to catch up. All right, let's hear it.
Solving real problems. A crypto winter that, as you just suggested, has changed in tone from how the last Davos, in terms of just, there was a lot of hype, a lot of noise around all things crypto at the last Davos. And I think seeing the change, and I actually think it's a really healthy change, that there's more focus on utility. Are these technologies are solving real problems? And I think to your question, I think to the extent there are companies solving real problems for real customers, and they're going to continue to grow regardless of the environment. Is there continued contagion? I think we're obviously continuing to hear noise about what's going on with DCG and Gemini. Hard to know. It sounds like that could work out in a constructive way. I think all of this has not been great for crypto at large. But again, if you just focus on companies that are solving real problems, certainly Ripple had a record 2022. We'd rather see crypto do well at large, but we had a great year, signed up more and more customers and more volume going through our payment rails.
And in terms of your outlook for 2023, we've seen a bit of a bump for Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Are you expecting that to continue, or is this just a little bit of false hope?
Well, I've tried to stay out of the short-term price prediction on all things Bitcoin, or crypto in general. I'm long-term very bullish because I think these are technologies that can solve real problems at scale. And I think when you have kind of new emerging technologies, not dissimilar than, frankly, the internet and kind of the dot-com bubble, sometimes the hype gets ahead of the reality. That comes into balance over time. But we shouldn't forget, really not that long ago, 21 years, Amazon during the dot-com bubble almost went out of business. So the fact that you're seeing some changes in the crypto world, I think, can be healthy for the long-term health of the industry.
And yet FTX appears to be a very high-profile case of fraud. There are serious regulatory and auditing gaps that went on with that institution. And yet at the same time, what I'm reading is so many people have been critical of SBF for having this close relationship with the regulators, the fact that he visited Gary Gensler so many times. So where do you draw the line? We need to strengthen regulation and oversight in this industry, but how close should the relationship be between your peer group and the U.S. regulators who are looking at these institutions?
Yeah, first of all, I think you're exactly right. We talk about this as a crypto problem, but really this is just fraud. And I think in some ways not that dissimilar than Bernie Madoff. And when Bernie Madoff occurred, we didn't totally restructure how we thought about oversight and regulation of hedge funds. We realized that, hey, clearly in that case also the SEC had overlooked, and if people had reported to the SEC they should be looking into Bernie Madoff. So I know that the SEC had met a bunch of times with SBF. I don't know the specifics of what types of oversight they were applying. I do think this is a fraud. I don't view this as a crypto problem at large. But to your point, I think regulatory clarity globally is important. And we're seeing a lot of countries. I mean, here we are in Davos, and Switzerland's clearly one of the countries leading in providing regulatory clarity in early stage. You have the UAE leaning in, the UK, Japan, Singapore. The U.S. is notably absent from that list. And I think in some ways the regulators in the U.S. have added confusion to the crypto marketplace.
And let's talk about those regulators in the U.S., the SEC, Brad. Let's get a check-in on what's going on with that lawsuit with the SEC and Ripple. Are you nearing an end potentially? Are you planning to settle with the SEC?
Well, we have always said that we would love to settle, but it requires one very, very, very important thing, and that is that on a go-forward basis, it's clear that XRP is not a security. The SEC and Gary Gensler has very outwardly said he views almost all crypto as a security, and so that leaves very little space in a Venn diagram for settlement. The case is now fully briefed in front of the judge, and judges take however long the judges will take. We're optimistic that this will certainly be resolved in 2023 and maybe the first half. So we'll see how it plays out from here. But I feel very good about where we are relative to the law and the facts.
So are you going to wait for the judge to come out with a decision on this one?
I'm very optimistic, and I think absent some significant change in posture from the SEC, I can't imagine that we won't have resolution from the judge. I also will point out, and certainly something I've heard here in Davos repeatedly, is how important this is, not just to how Ripple it goes forward, but also really the whole crypto industry in the United States. And I keep reminding people that outside the United States, crypto is still thriving, Ripple is still thriving, and we should make sure we're continuing to engage non-U.S. regulators as well.
I mean, it's also difficult to say it's thriving when so many people have lost a lot of money speculating. And the key word here is speculating on the price of Bitcoin and various other cryptocurrencies. I remember back at the peak, there was a lot of talk about institutions getting involved. Given what we've seen, given the price action, given the drawdowns, given the numerous amounts of fraud cases that have gone on in the space, doesn't it feel like the hurdle is extremely high, if not impossible now, to get institutions involved? If you were sitting on a board of a pension fund, how could you justify to them that you're going to get involved in cryptocurrencies?
Well, I think it depends upon how we're defining institutional involvement. When I think about institutional involvement with Ripple, I'm thinking about financial institutions, banks, payment providers who are using our technologies to solve a cross-border payments problem. They've continued to engage, we've continued to grow, and so I feel good about that. Well, look, I think anytime you have this kind of change, people take a moment. I also think, and I pointed out in one of the sessions I was in at Davos here yesterday, is, we talk about, obviously, crypto is down 65%. Tesla is down 65%. Facebook is down about 65%. No one's saying, hey, we shouldn't invest in Tesla or Facebook. So I think we have to, clearly, I would much rather not have the volatility we've seen in crypto in 2022. But I think we also have to look at that in concert of other kind of growth investment areas. And again, to your point, most of crypto has been speculation. If it's just speculation, I don't think that's long-term sustainable. We need to focus on utility and make sure we're solving problems for customers.
There we go. So that straight out of the horse's mouth. All right, we got some more out of Brad Garlinghouse. Let's hear it.
And about that is the SEC sued us around the question of is XRP a security at the end of 2020. And I'll admit, the beginning of 2021 was a stressful, Q1 was a stressful quarter for sure, because you now have a lawsuit in the largest economy in the world, and you didn't know how your existing customers would react, let alone new customers. And what we have seen since then, it particularly non-US, well over 95% of the customers we've signed in the last 2 years are non-US. Our activity is growing more and more outside the United States, and it's because you have this confusion in the United States. So we're now processing billions of dollars of transactions every quarter, and well over half of our total transaction volume, because we do have a fiat and XRP-enabled product called on-demand liquidity. Over half of all of our transactions go through XRP now. That has grown, and so again, we're continuing to sign more contracts, more customers, and then the contracts and customers we have grown, partly because we opened more corridors, more currency pairs. And so there's kind of a nice series of building the positive virtuous cycle that helps grow the business.
Over half of those billions of dollars that are flowing are going through XRP. And remember, Hong Kong said they were going to only list highly liquid digital assets. I mean, XRP is probably the most liquid digital asset out there, and that just proves it right there. So then we had this blue switch to green. Around 70% of all Bitcoin is in profit. Interesting. So this was that Plan B. He built like the what was it called? It looked like this. This could be it. But what we have here is, usually when we're in the dark blue, those are the bear market bottoms. Like right here, bear market bottom. It was a quick one in 2012, then our one in 2015, then our one in 2019, then our one in 2022 to 2023. I mean, whenever we see dark blue, we go from dark blue to like green, it's usually the bear market bottom. Like dark blue to green, bottom. Dark blue to green here, we had a dark blue again, then green, bear market bottom. So it's a matter of, are we in this kind of phase right here, going to pull back down for one more, which I wouldn't be mad about. I mean, I would love a second chance to get some of these coins at their low levels, like Gala and a couple other ones, but like Solana. So really, like Anthony Scaramucci said in the last newsletter I did today, we're closer to the bottom than we are the top. That's for sure. So that's why either we've already set the bottom and we're going to do something like this, something like that, or we have one more pull down and then we go. Crypto is here to stay. It's not going away. And this chart, this visualization just screams it even more. That's a validation. So now we have this. Some Russian TG, I'm not sure what that means. Oh, here's the announcement, because I was wondering if there was an announcement on this. Here was the great announcement. It seems like it wasn't that great because he did in quotes. Here was Putin's great announcement. In short, he launched a military operation in Ukraine to prevent an even bigger war in the future. Interesting. Let's hear it. Well, that's in Russian. So, but that's basically, let's see if there's a thread. He's still swanning about in Megia. Yeah. So I guess that was the announcement. Okay. Interesting. Let's keep going, because we have this. Now, World Economic Forum declares a planetary injustice crisis. Let's hear it.
We are now facing some, dear friends, scientifically, this is not a climate crisis. We are now facing something deeper. Mass extinction, air pollution, undermining ecosystem functions, really putting humanity's future at risk. This is a planetary crisis.
This is a safety crisis, but above all, it is also justice crisis. Many areas in the world are uninhabitable. This uninhabitable zone is increasing. If we continue with our greenhouse gas emissions, then by 2070, as many as 3 billion people will live in uninhabitable zones.
Dear friends, scientifically,
this decade is going to be crazy, because like there's such an obvious agenda right now that's trying to be implemented, and this decade is going to be the decade that decides how the next 30, 50, 100 years go. It's definitely a crazy time to be living in. It's an opportunistic time. It's also a scary time, but I believe that us, being on top of this Web3 developments, the fourth industrial revolutions, where we're looking, right? I feel like we're going to come out on the better end of it. And then when we do, we can help everybody else along the way. Now we have this. We got Linda P. Jones. Brad said they leased over 10 million of XRP to FTX. Let's hear this. Oh, this is a 6 minute, 30 second. We're going to skip this. But Yeah, so that they had leased that XRP to FTX. All right, we got another thing out of Ripple here. We're building solutions that expand financial inclusion in Southeast Asia and beyond. Learn how Ripple made it easier for Centbeat to connect with partners and make cross-border payments faster, cheaper, and more convenient for their customers in Korea. Let's hear it.
Officer and platform based out of Korea and now also in Singapore. So we have two major groups of customers. One is migrant workers in Korea and international students from Korea living. Essentially, they want to send money from Korea to abroad. They're usually facing four major issues. One is that it's expensive. Second is that it's slow. Third, the senders who are trying to send, it's inconvenient for them. And for the recipients who are receiving, it's inconvenient for them to receive. But migrant workers especially are not aware of the hidden costs, are not in the proximity of being able to use these technology were it not for players like us. Ripple is helping us do what we do better. We are able to take this technology and give it to them so that they can at least have the same financial inclusion and opportunity. And if you actually view their lives, it affects their whole family, not just one, but their whole family, and not just 5-10 years, but 50 years of their lives. We're a client of Ripple, I would say, or partners. They provide us with two aspects of, expansion of business. One is the fact that their product is, in a development perspective, standardized for us to easily plug in and integrate with new partners. And then Ripple is able to introduce us to countries that have more, I would say, pure products within those countries, within the Ripple network.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Love to see it. Love to see it. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We're going to be dropping a ton of videos. And also, too, if you're not on the Discord, come join the Discord. The link will be in the bio. It's free to join. You can chat it up in there. Say what up when you get in there. I'll say what up back. Let's dive into the next thing. So they are speaking about metal inventories for copper, zinc, and lithium at the World Economic Forum today. We're at a critical stage. In order to achieve net zero by 2050, copper production needs to expand by 20% per year starting now. This has never been achieved in any decade. Guys, remember, what video was it? I'm going to pull it up. So in the Discord, I have all my videos here. I think it was a deep dive. Very interesting stuff. I think it was this. Here it is. So in it talked about copper. It was copper being that, yeah, right here. See, copper. So copper is crucial. So, I mean, because we're investing in digital assets, the Web3 movement, fourth industrial revolution, but obviously having a diversified portfolio is definitely smart to do. And commodities are going to skyrocket. So I wonder if there's any copper ETFs, S&P Global Copper. I don't think that's ETF, but I wonder if there's any ETFs for copper, and I wonder what the copper chart is doing. I think I have another article up here talking about copper, but I'm really looking into diversify into other aspects of investments and really kind of grow Stargate to a overall holistic investment kind of research an education company and have these different divisions so we can just, and kind of kind of what we do for digital assets, Web3, crypto, and doing our research, doing our deep dives, doing our news. I would love to start a fourth industrial revolution type aspect to it all, where we're tracking what's the ripple and the stellar of AI. What's the ripple and the stellar of drone companies or 5G or chip makers, right? I want to have us all these next 10 years really just crush it and not get execute, but execute as far as just a well-diversified investment into the areas of innovation and the trends that are going to skyrocket over these next 5 to 10 years, the fourth industrial revolution. So we were covering copper back 13 days ago, and we're getting more confirmation of that being the case.
If we want to reach net zero by 2050, the view is that we need to have 2/3 of energy from renewable sources by 2030. Okay, in that scenario, and I'm excluding electrical vehicles, we expect that we need to have probably 20% increase in production per annum to meet those demands by 2030. of copper, for example. And we're also seeing the same issues in zinc and aluminium, because you require these metals to build wind farms, to build the infrastructure for these metals. The problem we have now is that the metal inventories over the past few years have been drawn down. We haven't had expansion in production. And we are now, quite frankly, at fairly critical stages with respect to metal inventories.
I love doing this stuff, guys, and I appreciate everybody who watches these videos. It's just like we are tracking and we're so ahead of the game. And like really, like there's physical commodities, like these metals that are going to power the fourth industrial revolution, all this green transition stuff. But then we're investing in digital commodities. You have two aspects. You can't have an iPhone without like the chip, which is you need silver or whatever to power that chip. But also now we go down deep into the iPhone. Now you have this new internet. Well, you have the internet of information. Now we're having the internet of value, that protocol. And now you're going to need these digital commodities, the XRPs, the Avalanches, the XLMs, etc., the Ethereums that are like the digital commodities of what the physical commodities are powering. So like these smart contract platforms, like the digital oil. And it's just so cool to track this stuff real time, do this every day with you guys. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, join the Discord. Would love to grow Stargate and grow this community to the moon. So let's keep going. We got Squawk Box. We got our good buddy, JP Morgan here, CEO, Jamie Dimon. Bitcoin itself is a hyped up fraud. Crypto is a decentralized Ponzi scheme. It's a pet rock. This guy, man.
What we're talking about, we pretty much always have some crypto conversation with you. I'm just curious, because I don't think we've talked to you since...
I think all that's been a waste of time, and why you guys waste any breath on it is totally beyond me.
Because you just think the whole thing just is
going to zero?
Going to zero and it's fake?
Bitcoin itself is a hyped up fraud. It's a pet rock.
You're back to that?
Yeah,
really?
Of course, yeah.
So what do you make then of BlackRock and other firms that are investing in infrastructure?
No, that's different. Blockchain is a technology ledger system that we use to move information. We've used it to do overnight repo, intraday repo. We've used it to move money.
Right.
So that is a ledger. That's a technology ledger type of thing that we think will be deployable. But remember, we've been talking about that for 12 years too, and very little's been done.
There's some tokens that I agree with you on, but Bitcoin's based on a distributed ledger. But it has all the characteristics of a store of value. It's immutable. It's scarce.
Totally untrue. It's
21 million.
Well, yeah, really. How do you know it's going to stop at 21 million?
Because
everyone says that. Well, maybe it's going to get to 21 million, and Satoshi's picture is going to come up and laugh at you all.
There isn't a picture.
What was your reaction to the failure of FTX and all of that? You've seen lots of failures over the years of different things that have happened on Wall Street and the world of finance.
I'm not surprised at all.
And
I called it a decentralized Ponzi scheme. The hype around this thing has been extraordinary.
The underlying
but you have a lot of clients who are involved.
You guys you've all seen the analysis on Tether and the analysis on all these things and the lack of disclosures, and it's outrageous. The regulators should have stopped this a long time ago. People have lost billions of dollars. Some are, if you look at it, as lower income people. It's
saying FTX is a decentralized Ponzi scheme, and saying that crypto itself is a Ponzi scheme. That's like, Madoff created options.
Crypto that doesn't do anything is a pet rock. You're happy to
Bitcoin.
You can own it all you want.
I'm just talking. There's a lot. It's billions of dollars.
I don't care about Bitcoin, so we should drop the subject.
All right. Well, let me ask.
It's funny because he was saying the same thing about Bitcoin back in 2019 and everything like that, and he was saying he would fire anybody that was trading it on his floor and everything. It was a pet rock. It's all this stuff, but little behind the scenes, he was buying it. And they were building up these trading desks and all these things. They have Onyx, their blockchain, their distributed ledger kind of solution. But it was funny because at the beginning he said, it's a pet rock. And then this guy was like, oh, you're back on to that? And he's like, of course. And he kind of did a little bit of a grin. It's because whenever the price is low, he's going to say all these things because he's buying it, or his company, over the counter is buying it. They're not going to say, oh, now's a great time to buy because, it's going to do this, that, and the other thing. When he's bearish, we're bullish. When he's bullish, we're bearish. And he was bullish at the top. So that's going to be another form of analysis that we can take when we're talking about buying and selling. Love it. All right, next we have this. This was interesting. Lots of reports on Instagram, TikTok, Reddit of problems at Bank of America. Many customers are missing money and not getting answers. So let's hear this.
So I'm at Bank of America and everybody's missing money. I'm also missing money over $1,300 and they're telling me to call customer service. And they keep hanging up on people. This another person here is also missing money. So we're trying to see what's going on. Money's missing today and we need our money. And they're already telling us to call customer service. And customer service ain't doing nothing about it. So just a heads up, if anybody's experiencing this, please let us know because this is not right. I'm missing $1,400 from my account, and they're telling me that there's no way they can help us. This guy's missing money too. This other person is missing money too. And you missing money too? There you go. So this is not something that's just one person. This is everybody's happening to them. And this is crazy. This is very crazy. Yes, Bank of America decided to take people's money without thinking. And we're asking what's going on, and they're giving us a runaround. Everybody for the same thing, man. Same thing.
See, this is very concerning and alarming. And even Ledger replied to it. Probably a good time to take matters in your own hands, own your private keys, and keep your assets in your own custody. And that's what I was thinking as well, too. Okay, Bank of America says problem with Zelle transactions are resolved. But very, very, very concerning as far as like bank runs. Like imagine in the US, like the bank's just like shutting the doors, you can't access your money, and that is ultimately coming with ICE 9, and nobody's just prepared for that. Everybody in the US at least believes that their money's safe at the bank. It's not. Even after seeing this, I was like, if this could happen to Bank of America, I mean, Coinbase, you know, like how can we trust a Coinbase? How can we trust an Uphold? It's very hard to when you see stuff like this. I personally use Bank of America. I was like, oh shit, like it's time to pull some money out of the bank, right? Having your crypto on your cold storage device in your own hands, good security precautions is such a move. It's not even funny. It's just so scary nowadays that things like this are happening, and we're heading into a scary time, but also an opportunistic time as well too. So having your D-Day preparation kind of scenario planned out for anything like this to happen is definitely crucial for sure. So let's keep going. We got MIT report explores CBDC designs for financial inclusion. We go down here, MIT Digital Currency Initiative and made in a published report on central bank digital currency design choices and how this could impact financial inclusion. I'm going to click on that just so we have it. The research specifies 5 areas that impacts users' perceptions, including custody. See, very important. Access, finality, data, and distance. While holding physical cash is comparatively risky, it provides control, and the report suggests enabling self-custody of a CBDC. Interesting. Researchers interviewed potential end users in India, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Mexico, which highlighted the need for low-income users to maintain control over their earnings. Sometimes it's a matter of trust, such as in Mexico, where there have been several incidences of fraud at financial cooperatives, kind of like we just saw with Bank of America. But it's also about trusting the intermediary to make payments promptly and be transparent about the charges involved. In contrast, a key benefit of cash is simplicity. A second issue relates to access because not everybody has a bank account. There's the challenge of needing formal identity documents for those without an account. Most CBDCs plan to limit the transaction volumes and values based on the level of identity provided, which could render CBDCs less inclusive without a digital identity program. Another area to explore is the finality of transactions, especially given cash transactions are instantly final. There's a trade-off between finality and whether a transaction can be reversed if there's a mistake in the amount or a dispute. The impact of human error is far more significant on someone living in poverty. Data and privacy are already hot topics with CBDCs, but they can impact the poorest the most. For example, the data could be used for micro-targeting or limiting how a user can spend a government benefit. And lastly, distance is one area where a digital currency could have clear benefits because remittances can't be done in cash without going through the likes of MoneyGram or Western Union. But other issues such as identity and costs are exacerbated for remittances. The report concludes that trust is critical. There's a paragraph that addresses the reservations of many potential CBDC users and our number one concern about CBDCs. Considering the rise of authoritarian regimes around the world, the acceleration of the surveillance state, and the increasing challenges regulating the technology industry, it is far from self-evident that citizens should trust the CBDC. Addressing these concerns will be critical to the adoption of any CBDC. There we go. Now we have this. Plan B, again, both the S&P and Bitcoin will continue to go up. I'm in the same camp because governments and their currents and their central banks will continue to debase fiat currency, but Bitcoin will increase much faster than S&P as it did in the last decade, 100%. And you can see that to be the case here. So this is Bitcoin versus S&P. We have a linear line up here. We're increasing. And is there a legend here? Where's the dot? What do the dots and the lines mean? Not sure what this means, but obviously the direction is up. So there we go. And all right, guys, we're going to end it at that. Actually, one more thing. If anybody knows about the steps having to be taken for the DFLR and the XFi, or I think it's this new airdrop that is coming out for Flare holders and XFi holders, let me know. Come join the Discord. The link will be in the bio, and say, hey, saw your video. Here's what you got to do for the airdrop. Would love to get a step-by-step on that, because free airdrop, we got to claim it. So that's it, guys. That's it for this video. I'm going to be doing the tracking WEF video, as well as I'm going to try to get that XLM deep dive out today as well too. It's pretty lengthy, so it's taken a little while to get it rolling here, because I still want to get the daily videos out, but it is in the works, I promise you. So hopefully I can get that out by today. Yeah, so come join the Discord. Link will be in the bio. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.